Hey, what's up? Delio T2K here with another vlog for you. In this vlog, we're going to talk about peaks and valleys. Basically in life, peaks and valleys, and even in creation and in music, there are peaks and valleys that you go through all the time. And so what I want to do with this vlog is just kind of address those things and kind of address some situations that come along with that, and maybe some mentalities that can help you to push forward and move through those peaks and valleys. And it comes from, it was inspired by a situation I was in. I was dealing with a situation where I had to pick up this, or I had to deal with this minister in the office. And the minister in the office wondered, how did I get started in doing what I do now currently compared to what I was doing before? Everybody always wonders, that's the number one question I think I get with this gig is, what were you doing before this? As though it were to say, how did you end up here? Well, the truth was the truth, and I told him, I was like, you know, I used to do sound at this church for a certain amount of years, and I used to do sound at this church for a certain amount of years, and you know, they let me go, and I was really done working in that kind of environment. I was done working in black churches. I did a vlog about that, and he started to laugh as though it was a joke, as though he might have been through some situations himself where he probably had to let an engineer go, and you know, he was laughing and he was like, yeah, we can be kind of rough on him. And I thought to myself, wow, this was the same attitude that probably these other people have done or have acted towards me in my position. And you know, I was like, wow. And you know, the whole storyline of how hard that life was kind of flashed through my mind, and it really made me think about how hard of a life that was and how stressful it was. And then you have someone here that's probably done the same thing to someone else, and they just kind of laugh at it, you know, because at the end of the day, their life goes on because they're the boss of their business that they run, and you're left to pick up the pieces and to continue to fight for yourself, because we know at the end of the day, you're in a fight for yourself and for what you want to do and what your dreams and goals are, you know. And you know, I know what I get into when I get on YouTube and I talk about black church and stuff like that. I know what I get into every time I create a video where I express an opinion, because I know there's going to be someone out there on the internet that's going to come on the comment section below and say something and feel like that they've got some sort of affirmation from that, thinking that I will be moved. What they do not understand, that after all the things I've been through working in the sound and black churches, yes, I'm saying sound and black churches, that and all the people I dealt with and all the situations and stresses that I dealt with, that all these little comments that come down on the bottom of these videos that I post sometimes when I try to speak my mind and try to motivate somebody, all that stuff they post on there is tame. Because at the end of the day, what I've been through and what I dealt with, I tell you, that's one of the good things that I got out of this really large valley that I went through, is that at the end of the day, all this other stuff that I deal with is tame. It's nothing. It's a joke to me, because I survived pretty much one of the toughest periods in my life I felt so far. And I can't say that I won't deal with any other tough situations in the future, but I do know that not everybody's going to agree with me on YouTube. I get that, and I know what I get into when I put a video and I voice an opinion on that. And you know, probably 4 or 5 months from now, they forgot they even commented on the video. But I'll still be here trying to do what I'm trying to do. So let's get back to peaks and valleys. Well, you know, after I was done with this pastor in the office, I was kind of disappointed and kind of upset, and the reason was because, wow, that was a tough time, and you have to wonder, well, why did this happen to me, and why did all this happen, and why, you know, it's a lot of unanswered questions, and you're left to figure out your own direction and where you want to go, because there's no clear answers. There's no clear answers why you went from that, but the best thing you can do is draw benefits from that. And it kind of started a valley moment for me, because I'm like, wow, I'm here. I'm not really in the position I want to be, but this is where I'm at right now, and it sucks. And so what I try to do is think about that. And another friend of mine was going through some situations as well, where you're dealing with a funk. This is the valley I'm talking about. You're dealing with a funk. You don't know exactly what's wrong, but you're just upset. You may be nervous and you can't exactly figure out why. And you're going through the day, and you're not trying to take it out on anybody, but you're really kind of like spent, and you're kind of feeling like, what is it that I'm dealing with here? And And what I'm saying is that what you're dealing with right there is a valley moment. You've heard the saying that there's peaks and valleys, and here you are, and you know how you feel when you're at the top when a lot of things are going your way, and then you have to also know how you feel when things aren't going your way. And I think about the feelings and the thoughts that I deal with in the valleys and stuff like that. And one thing that I have to say about all of this is that one thing I've learned in life is that there are oscillations with the peaks and valleys. It's a rhythm to it. The good news is that while you're at the deepest part of your valley, the only thing that could come after is an upturn or a peak. And so what we try to do, or what we should do, what I think you should do and what I think I should do, is to think about everything that I deal with in the valley. What am I learning? What am I feeling? Why do I feel the way that I do? And then also I try to think about all the other times while everything was going pretty good and everything was going great. And those are some peaks, and you're like, wow, this is great, But I think that it's important to remember that it always changes, and that the lessons that you learn in the valleys you can't get at the peaks. What you do at the peaks is that you enjoy the fruit of your labor and the pain and the confusion and some of the stuff that happens in the downturn in the valleys, and you try to enjoy the peaks and make sure you fully embrace those peaks and enjoy having a little bit more money in the bank, or have a little bit more things going your way, or a nice experience. Enjoy those peaks, take those in, because you got a valley coming. And it's not being pessimistic and it's not being negative, but I think it's having a steadfast mind, focusing on the fact that, okay, let me not go too crazy when I got all this extra money in the account. Let me go not too crazy when things are going my way. Let me not get too cocky when things are going my way, because there's a valley coming. And if I spend up all my resources, and if I go shopping and I go getting this and that, well, there's a lot of money in the bank, then what happens when you get into the valley? You're in a worse position that you are in the valley. You forget that what you went through and how broke you were, or your emotions that are all screwed up in the valley. You forget that while you're in the peak. And I think it's important to remember to prepare for the next valley. Always prepare for the next valley. And then some peaks and valleys are smaller. And I compare this to sound, because in sound you have, for instance, a large waveform, right? And as the more complicated the sound gets, for example, if you hear a bass note, it makes a large waveform, right? And then if you have more sounds going on in your song, you got all these little shapes going up and down in the waveform, going up, and stuff like that. And those are little mini peaks and valleys. You got the big peak in the big valley, and you got the big peak and then the big valley, and you got these small little ups and downs in that. And that's how we hear sound. But I think that represents life. I think it represents your emotions and your status and where you're at in life. And I think that, even the earth has a beat, has a rhythm. Winter, spring, summer, fall, winter, spring, summer, fall, over and over again. And if you've been through that enough times, you can almost see into the future what's going to come next. Night, day, night. There's a rhythm. Broke, paid, spin, save, feel good, feel bad, feel good, feel bad. And I think that what we should do is try to learn the lessons from when we don't feel good. And one of the things I like to take from that is that when it's not good, exercise is a great thing. Even when it comes to music making, you make the music, then you stop making music and you listen. Listen to everyone else's music for a change. Hear what the trends are. Hear what people are vibing to. Listen to what the DJ playing and how the people in the club listen and respond to it. Read lyrics, learn other people's lyrics. In the valley moment where you're not really that creative yourself, because there's going to be an upturn, and there's going to be a time where you're going to have all this creativity flowing and all this other stuff, and you can take what you've learned and apply that. For instance, there's a time to create, and then there's a time to everything is a rhythm, everything is a beat. Sometimes you just got to go through it, and there are not any answers. There's no sayings, there's no you know, I mean, look at how people go to church. You know, they go to church to get this emotional high, they feel great, and then boom, Monday, back in the workplace, and this is oscillation going on again. You know, a friend of mine was talking to me. I gave him a shout out, Jay Clay, was talking about the real estate market and how it's best to spend when the market oscillates into a more cheaper position than to spend in more of an upturn. Now, I'm not that aware of what the upturns and downturns are, but I do know that as you pay attention, as you learn what's going on, you're able to make better decisions and better apply yourself. So that's a vlog about peaks and valleys, and I hope that if you're in a valley right now, just wait a little while, be strong, rest your mind, and take in what's going on and apply that. So when the peak comes, you don't overexert yourself, you don't overspend, so that when the next valley comes, the next valleys that follow through aren't that bad and aren't that deep, because you were smart and you had more going your way. So I hope that helps somebody. More motivational videos and thoughts and things coming soon. And this is fun. All right, I'm out. Peace.